Hi, Tom here. Welcome back to the channel. In this, I'm going to show you how to get your Django data using English, the hottest new programming language that large language models have enabled. What that means in practice is that we're going to use OpenAI's Assistance API with Django to let any non-technical users ask questions about your data in English and get answers back also in English. Here's what our final product will look like. As you can see, here's the database and then the question and the answer, both in English. So let's get into it. Okay, here's the written guide that we'll be following along, and link to that in the description below. Let's get into it. So we'll set up our Django app first and install the packages, copy that, and then paste that into here. I've set up a virtual environment. Now we want to add sim to our installed apps in settings.py in core, settings.py, and then go down to installed apps and sim. Sim is the name of the app, call it whatever you want, and we won't worry about this for a moment. Sim. We also need to add our OpenAI key because we're going to access OpenAI. It's very easy, and I think there's a free tier, but it's very cheap anyway. So go here to this link to create a new key, very simple. But first, let's go into core and then create a new file called .env where we will store our environment variables. Yeah, we can add it, that's fine. And then I'll add that in there. And then you go to here, create a new key, and then copy the key into here, which I will now do. Okay, and so here's your key, your OpenAI key, and then copy that, and then put it here into your environment variable. This is akin to your password. I'm going to delete this after, but keep this safe for you. Okay, now back, and now we want to load the environment variables whenever we run our server. So copy this, and then go to your settings again, and then paste this in at the top. And you can see we're going to raise an exception here if our OpenAI key is not found when this runs, which loads our .env file. Okay, now let's create our database models. This is where we're going to store the data that our users are then going to query using English. So copy this and then go into sim and then open models, paste that in. As you can see, it's just got an organization and then lots of people, each with a foreign key to organization there, and then some data. Now make your migrations, Python manage there, and then paste them into your terminal. So make migrations and then migrate. As you can see, we're finished there. Now we're going to create a simple view to render the people. So go to views in sim and paste this in. So now add our URLs to connect that up. So go to sim and then create a URLs file, urls.py. Doesn't matter about that. Paste this in and then add in our sim URLs to our main core directory. So go to core and then URLs and paste this in over the top. See that routes to sim and then we'll route to our views. Now we're going to create a template to render our people in the HTML. So go to sim and then create a directory called templates and then create a, what do we call it? people.html. Create a file inside the templates folder called people.html and then copy this HTML, which is showing our people, and paste it in, and then a form. In it goes. And you can see that we're going to be submitting this form using HTMX, which is very nice. Now we're going to create two more templates, copy this, and create another one in here called conversation.html. Conversation.html. And paste that over the top. And then the final one called answer.html. Answer.html. Paste that in as well. Now we're going to update our views to interact with the OpenAI Assistant API. So as you can see here, what we'll do is we will serialize all the people in our database, so convert all that database information to JSON. Then that is the prompt that we're going to be using that I've written. Then we're creating an OpenAI Assistant here, starting a thread, which is necessary. And then every time a user then sends a query using HTMX, then we will add another message to that thread, which the assistant of OpenAI will then analyze. And then we poll for completion because it takes a couple of seconds to run. And then we add that back and then we render it back. Yes, so copy that. Go back to your views under sim and paste it over the top. It includes what we had earlier about people. Okay, now we're going to add some sample data for the user to query in our database. So we're going to create a one-off script to add these people. And so we want to create a one-off script called generate.py in the sim directory. So go to sim here and then create generate.py and then paste this in here. So we're going to run python manage.py shell and then from sim generate import generate sample data. Then if we go from, and then we can see all the people there listed, which we've just created. Okay, great. And now let's run our app. So Python manage.py run server, exit your shell, and then in the terminal, Python manage.py run server, and then visit. And there are our people. As you can see, there are lots of them. And now let's start a query and then enter the query. So let's say, what is the average salary? Let's start that off. What is the average salary in English? Click to run, and it will take a few seconds because we need to connect and create our OpenAI assistant. As you can see, the query is here that we've posted, and then we're polling, and then we've got to post back. We go from here. We're going to run this, what's the average salary? I've clicked run. Apologies for the error the first time. This sometimes happens because it's not a deterministic process, so you will get some randomness. You could handle that, and check if it doesn't work. But then we asked again, and we got the correct answer, which is 59,000, and we accidentally asked again, 59,000. So yeah, let's ask another question. What is the standard deviation of salary for women? And as you can see, a few seconds to run. We've asked the query here, we've got a response back, and we scroll down, and there we go. The standard deviation for women is approximately 19,000. Pretty cool. Let's ask one more question, and let's say, tell me something surprising about the data. And we'll misspell data as well. Okay, you can see the query's gone through there, and we should have our response. And here we go. One surprising aspect of data is the average salary from women is higher than the average salary from men. There we go. Very interesting indeed. So congrats, users can now ask questions in English about your Django data. As you can see then, a number of things we can add to make this app better. Currently we're polling every second, which isn't great. A better approach would be to have an async approach that doesn't tie up the request-response cycle in the server. Here's my video for how to do that, and I did that in the context of building an instant messenger app with Django. Link in the description below for more Django content I'm producing weekly, as well as updates on my product, Photon Designer, to build Django frontend even faster. Besides that, I'm producing more Django content weekly. Here are some more videos. All the best to you.